was in my early 20s, and I hate going to the doctor. I couldn't breathe well, and I went to a PA, and she said, "Oh, you just got bronchitis." And a week later, my lung was half full of fluid on both sides. I had 104 fever, and I was basically a 6-foot rag with no bones. And they took me to the emergency room, and they got me what they thought was stabilized. I was asleep, and about 3 o'clock, I just woke up, and there was a woman standing beside my bed. Not a nurse, but a woman, and a little old woman, dressed in an older woman's dress. And she was standing there, and she said, "It's okay, honey. It's okay." And I said, "All right." I mean, I had the most peaceful feeling I've ever had in my entire life. And I sat up, and I seen that there was something in the corner over there of the room. And it looked like an angel. I mean, all I could see was a shadowed silhouette. But it had the prettiest blue eyes you've ever seen in your life. Everything's going to be fine. So I jumped up off the bed, and I walked about a little between her and what looked like an angel. And I looked back, and my body was in the bed, which you thought would have freaked me out. But I was like, okay. It's just, you just have that wonderful feeling. And I'm talking to her, and all of a sudden these other people start walking through the walls into my room. And they're introducing themselves. But there's probably 5 or 6 people walked in and introduced themselves, which most people would have thought was weird, but for me it's another day. But they introduced themselves, and we were all talking amongst ourselves. They give me their names and how old they was and where they were at and all this other stuff. Kind of strange, but like I said, the feeling I had, I was happy. But the angel I seen raise his hand up, and all of a sudden this little pin of light popped up on the wall. It was just this really warm feeling light, and people started telling me bye and walking into this light. But it was just me and her, and I thought, well, I guess it's my turn. So I started towards it, and she grabbed me by the shoulder. She said, "No, honey, no, it's not your time. You need to stay here." I said, "Are you sure?" She said, "Yeah, you need to stay here." And I said, "Okay." She said, "Go over there and lay down in the bed, and everything will be fine." I'm like, okay. So I'll go back, I'll get up on where my body is, and I'll lay down. It strengthened it. And for me, it just made it stronger. Well, there I am laying in bed, and all of a sudden, I open my eyes, there's alarms going off.